I feel out of practice. What is up, you sexy beasts? It's been 2 weeks since I've uploaded a video on this channel, and that just feels wrong. You know, since last year's games, I've uploaded 2 to 3 videos every single week without fail, and to take 2 weeks off, it was hard. It was really, really hard. And even making this video, it was hard to kind of get back into the groove, so hopefully this goes well. Today, I want to talk about 3 things. My experience as a CrossFit Games fan. How did I experience the games this year? How do I think it compares to previous years? Secondly, what it was like to be once again part of the HWPO crew, the team, the camp, the family, I should say. And then lastly, my experience as a creator in the space. Those are kind of the 3 things I want to touch on. So let's start with the first one, my experience as a CrossFit Games fan. I have to say that compared to last year, I enjoyed this year a lot more. And the experience was amazing, and I think a lot of it has to do with the freshness that Boz brought to the programming. I think, you know, over the last few years, perhaps the games have become a little bit predictable. And I like to think back to the very first time I went to the CrossFit Games in 2016. It was the last year that I was in California, and this year reminded me a lot of that year. Everything was new and novel and different, and that's kind of what it felt like this year. Didn't know what to expect with Boz, and man, I got to give it to Boz. He really rode the line, didn't he? He really pushed the boundaries. I thought that he would play it a lot safer. Nothing that I'm going to say here has anything to do with Castro doing a bad job. I think Castro's done an amazing job running the games. But when someone fresh comes in, fresh eyes on the programming, you know, it's just different, and you can't help but enjoy it. I enjoy change, you know, and so I thought that Boz might do 3 new things. He might introduce like 1 new piece of equipment, maybe like 1 new movement and 1 new format when it comes to a workout format. You know, I thought he played pretty conservative, and you know, he spoke about honoring the history of the games and what Dave's built. But man, did he push the boundaries. I think I listened to the Sevan podcast. By the way, we're going to talk broad picture here today. We're going to talk about just the overall feeling and look of the games as a whole. If you really are interested in diving into each event, and even more than that, every movement, Sevan has got 2 podcasts on this. He's got a 2-hour podcast with JR and Taylor Self, which is really informative, and another one with Brian Friend. So if you're a bit of a CrossFit geek and you really want to go deep, go and listen to those ones. Today we're going to talk about the broad kind of picture. But in that podcast, they reckon that there were 14 new movements at the CrossFit Games this year and 7 new implements. That's a lot for someone to take on the role for programming the games for the first time, to go that all out. And I think for the most part, it paid off. Obviously, there's a lot of talk around the skill-based workout, the gymnastics-based workout with the crisscross double unders. And I do think I want to talk about that in another video. I've got some thoughts. But I think overall, it worked out really well, and everyone I spoke to had a great experience, and for the most part, thought that the programming was legit. But I think even more than the new movements and the new implements, the most impactful difference that Boz's programming made was the format of some of these workouts. Things like forcing the athletes to do unbroken sets on the skipping, making them break after a certain amount of dips. So going, you have to do 7-7-7, 5-5-5, making them do all the pistols on one leg. The sprint into shoulder to overhead workouts was just genius, forcing athletes to really push the run so that they can have more time on the shoulder to overhead. You know, having set rest periods, forced rest periods, and even making them row to a certain pace on that last workout. It was just genius. It really forced the athletes to think outside the box when it comes to perhaps the way they normally would pace workouts, because he took the option away, you know, when it comes to pacing for some of these workouts. And someone that really stands out to me is Brent Furkowski, someone who's an amazing pacer, you know, great at longer chippers. I feel like these workouts really took away that strength from Brent. You know, when there's a set rest period and athletes can recover, it takes away Brent's benefit of being able to grind and pace and work through a chipper, for example. So I think the biggest difference to the programming was not so much the movements or the new implements, but more so the brilliantly thought out formats of some of these workouts. So I think it was absolutely brilliant. We still crowned the fittest on earth without a doubt, all the while challenging every athlete and making them ask questions of themselves, especially going into this next training season, this next off season. I think a lot of athletes are going to take a good look at how they prepare for the CrossFit Games and make some amendments, make some changes based on, some of the structures that Boz used in his workouts. I think a lot more athletes are going to force themselves to hold certain paces or hit certain time targets before moving into a strength piece. That row, forcing them to row a certain time on that rower, otherwise they couldn't move on to the next part of the workout. Things like that is something that athletes are going to have to take on board, as well as obviously some new skills that no doubt will come up. That third workout, the speed skill medley, only 5 males and 5 females got to show off their ability when it comes to the crisscross double unders, and only one athlete out of those got to actually try and do the L-sit to press handstand and walk horse. And so there is no doubt in my mind that those movements are making a return next year, purely because not enough athletes got the opportunity to show off their skills when it comes to those. And I know there were athletes that were proficient in the crisscross double unders that got eliminated in the first couple of rounds, that didn't get to show off their skills. Same thing with workout number 11, the alpaca. Unfortunately, due to the rain, they had to get rid of the L-sit rope climb. And so again, there's no doubt in my mind that is making a return next year. So there's a few little things in there that the athletes will take into the off season that will make it interesting and exciting. So yeah, other than a few little mishaps like the athletes not counting their laps on the bike ride and just doing 4 instead of 5 or doing 6 instead of 5, I really think in that case, I feel like CrossFit needs to take more ownership for it rather than just putting it on the athlete. When it comes to any other movement, it's always the judge counting your reps. So to now say that the laps are on the athlete, for me, I feel like they could have done a better job at directing the athletes as to when they actually have to enter the stadium. Yeah, I'm a bit torn on that one. I'm not sure if it's the athlete's fault or CrossFit's fault, but even with all those things considered, taking away that rope climb and the alpaca completely changed that event and just biased it towards the bigger, stronger athletes and really took away from the more gymnastically proficient athletes. So there were a few hiccups. Not all of them were in the control of the team, but all those things considered, as a whole, for me, it's a thumbs up. And I'm excited to see what Boz does next year. Okay, next up, my experience as a team member of the HWPO camp. Actually, before I go on, I know I'm going to get questions about the shirt. I don't think you can get it anywhere. I think they're gone. There was a limited drop at the games, and I'm not sure if they're bringing it back. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Last year I got to meet Matt Fraser, Sammy Moniz, Matt O'Keefe, Eric, the photographer, and Jake Marconi, the programmer. And that was pretty much the team. Oh, Aaron was there as well. But pretty small team last year. So 1 year later, the guys have launched their online programming and the team has really grown significantly. There was a lot more of us. And what I kind of took away from the weekend was that they are not about the popularity contest. How do I explain this? The team is so diverse, there's so many different characters in the team. We now have Rob Kearney doing HWPO Strong programming. We have Amy Everett doing the HWPO Lift program. We have young Josh, just a legend, helping with the programming. We have Harry Parley on board of coaching. We have Samantha, Chagdrick, Andrew. It's just such a big team now, and it's just such a family vibe. And one thing I picked up this weekend that the team is very big on, O'Keefe is very big on, it's just culture. You got to fit the culture of the team, and it's rich, man. And within 1 year, it is just a family vibe. It's the best way to describe it, and it's got nothing to do with what you've achieved or any of that stuff. It's all about, can you vibe and jam with the fam? And man, I'm excited and I'm proud to be part of this amazing team. So yeah, my experience was tenfold again, just because I already had some established relationships, to build off from last year. So I felt more comfortable straight away. And of course, Mel and Jason. What an incredible year for both of those athletes. Jason, I believe, went from 18th last year to 7th this year. And if I'm not mistaken, that is the most improved athlete, returning athlete from last year. So even though Roman Krinikov, I believe, got the most improved award, for all the returning athletes from last year, Jace had the biggest jump in placement, which is unreal. And then obviously Mel going from 7th to 2nd. Man, just different breeds, you know. Both of them just so professional and so mature for the young athletes that they are. And I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the man in their corner, Matt Fraser, and all his experience. So the experience with the HWPO camp was incredible. Once again, I felt loved, felt valued. And the first vlog that I created for them is already out on the Fraser channel, so go and check that out. The second one is going to drop soon, and I'm very, very excited. They're both good, but the second one's special. So yeah, do me a huge favor, go and watch those, get involved in the comments, show me some love if you want to. And let's move on to the last thing, which is my experience as a creator. It was both inspiring and discouraging at the same time. Let me explain. It's encouraging because there's so many amazing people that create content in the CrossFit space now. Like, it is blown up. It is blown up, and not just in the volume and the quantity of people, but just their level of talent. There's so many amazing videographers and photographers out there now, and they're great people, and it's an awesome experience. It's like a little community in itself at the CrossFit Games that probably not a lot of people get to see, but we're like a little clan in our own right. But when you're creating for someone else, when you're used to creating for yourself and then you spend a week creating for someone else, it can be disheartening watching people like Craig Ritchie or the Buttery Bros creating great content for themselves, and then you are not able to do that. Or I think I am. I think I haven't been prepared enough the last 2 years, and it's something that I want to work on next year. I absolutely want to continue working with this crew because they are just the best in the biz. But I feel like there is room and there is space for me to create my own content if I'm just more prepared and more planned. So I was pretty gutted that I haven't posted on here for 2 weeks. So that's discouraging and disheartening. And also just, it's so easy to let other people's success and other people's ability make you doubt yourself and make you downplay where you're at, you know. You got to really just be happy for people and for their success and what they're achieving without it letting affect you. But it's easier said than done. And I would lie if I said that, you know, I don't look at some of these other creators in the space and what they're doing and going, oh man, why am I even doing this? Like, there's someone else doing it better. There's someone else delivering better commentary on the sport. There's someone else creating better looking videos, hanging out with cooler athletes. You know, where do I even fit? And so there's definitely a level of that. Like, you come away both inspired, but also at times feeling discouraged. So that's kind of what I've had to work through. But at the end of the day, I have fallen in a place where I'm excited for this new year. Yeah, I want to upload more regularly, do better content, try and be more involved with you guys, somehow connect more. It was so amazing meeting so many of you. And that's one thing I noticed this year. I met a lot more people this year than last year. I could really feel that there was more of a community starting to develop. So I want to keep fostering that. So yeah, there you go. A little bit of my heart, you know. Hey team, I think that'll do for the first video. You know, tomorrow's going to be exciting. Tomorrow I'm going to show you my new multi-training machine that's in the garage. It's all installed. You may have seen some sneak peeks on Instagram, but tomorrow I'll do a training vlog, show you the new piece of equipment, and that should be a lot of fun. So you have a fantastic night or morning or day, wherever you are, whatever time it is in your world. And as always, stay sexy, keep roaring love. I'll see you soon. Mwah.